Tonight's DJNTV show is sponsored in part by Electro Voice, DJ Event Planner, ADJ, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, Newmark, and DJNTV Insiders.
Hi, this is John Young with the Disc Jockey News and Disc Jockey News TV. Thank you for joining us tonight out on Facebook and out there on YouTube. For tonight's show,
welcome to Hanging Out with Brian and Ben. I think we just coined the name of a new show on Tuesday nights. Normally, I'm Brian's opener, the warm-up act at 8 o'clock, but we've crammed everything into one solid, fun-filled hour here at 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, or let's see, what would that be specific time?
Pacific or specific?
Specific.
Specifically, the time is...
It would be specifically right now.
Right. And it's the Ben and Brian show because I am the co-host tonight. Ben is the rock star.
Well, and it's alphabetical that way, so Ben and Brian, you know.
Either way, we're here. This is Ben's show. I am just his Huckleberry tonight.
I got another pencil, so...
All right.
Top 10 reasons why this should be Brian's show. All right. So, I really hope nobody's standing behind me.
Yeah, that would be bad. That would be bad.
So what are we talking about tonight, Brian? Ways to use your gear, I think the title said.
Oh, is that what it said? Ways to use your gear?
Ways to use your gear.
You know, you have to be careful with the word gear when you're traveling internationally.
I suppose
I don't know if you knew that or not.
Kit, right? So, you know, in the UK, it's kit, you know?
Right, because gear is like stuff you use to shoot heroin.
Really?
So,
I didn't even know that.
We went over to the UK with Sparky B for the first time, and we flew through Manchester, and they asked if he had anything that he was bringing to the country, and he said, "Yeah, I got some gear in my luggage. We're gonna be using this gear at this big show I'm doing." And the customs lady's like, "Really? We're using some gear?" And Brian and Daddle and I are standing back just laughing because we know exactly what's going on.
See, in the United States, junkies are a lot more sophisticated. You know, they call it paraphernalia.
Right. Right. Yep. Over there, that's your gear. So
you know, that's why everybody hates America, right? We even have fancy words for our drug habits. So.
Yes, and over there they call it kit, don't they, Brian?
Yeah.
The DJ stuff.
That's why they do it. Yeah.
So music reference, since we've got a bunch of DJs here, wasn't it the Dandy Warhols, I think, that did that song, Never Thought You'd Be a Junkie Because Heroin Is So Passé?
You have lost me on that one.
Seriously? Oh, that's right. You don't like 90s alternative rock. You don't
No,
like
I hate it.
Well, good. Then so look it up. It's a great song. You'll love it.
Wow.
Ben, you're alone on that one. No one is going to support you on that one.
Nobody is with me on 90s alternative rock here.
No.
Nobody.
You want to know why?
Not really.
Because all the pretty girls went from wearing nice mini skirts and they wore like factory clothes.
Exactly.
You know what? They weren't talking to me anyway, so you know it wasn't like.
Well, they were talking to me and they screwed my game up. So thanks a lot.
Well, I never had any
right?
games, so
It's like Nirvana is to cool dance music what Disco Sucks was to disco, basically. You know, all the guys that couldn't dance got mad and just rebelled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so everybody, all the girls that used to come in knockout outfits came in looking like they just got done milking the cows.
No, I'm from Iowa. You know, remember?
It was like you milked the cows anyway.
Don't tempt me with a good time. You know. We better talk about gear or kit or paraphernalia or something. We're about to get in trouble. This is about to go off the rails.
It definitely can very quickly. Ways to use your equipment, perhaps.
I think you got to be careful with that word too. So you know.
Yeah, you probably do.
Are we back to talking about milking cows now?
Your DJ stuff.
You know, a friend of mine has a dairy farm. He still lives down there back in the old neighborhood, and it's an interesting operation actually to watch how they do that now. You know.
but
it looks pretty barbaric to a city boy, but yeah.
I'll tell you what, these cows, they genuinely seem to really enjoy it. They were excited to get in their stalls, and my friend was very affectionate to them. And the cows, just seem to really. I suppose if you're carrying around, 8 gallons of milk all day, you're probably pretty happy to get rid of it. So
My daughter was telling me the story today that there was this cow in Canada that escaped the slaughterhouse, so they decided to go ahead and give it a pass, but it died of stress anyway. So.
Can you do me a favor?
The moral of the story,
Let's not utter another word about milking our cows.
Somebody shut his mic off.
we're going to have to mute you, Jimmy.
Utterly pathetic pun.
Right.
You're lucky I love you, Jimmy.
At least
I'm
he has
enjoying
clothes on.
my new case, too, by the way.
He was kind enough to wear a shirt tonight.
Yes, thank you for wearing clothes. I just hope he's wearing pants. Don't stand up.
Oh, don't stand up, please.
Oh, I have my underwear on.
No.
They're boxers.
Jimmy,
Nah.
I ate a couple hours ago, dude. Come on.
Just gonna take your word for it.
Yeah.
So other than oh yeah, exactly. True North's like, yep, gotta go. See you later.
Yeah, they had enough of this.
Yep, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
So what do you guys recommend for a small DJ setup?
Thank you, Robin, thank you for bailing us out here. Thank you for saving us with the legitimate show-related on-topic question. It's pretty obvious neither Brian nor I had the willpower nor the mental capacity to get this train on the tracks. So,
way to go, Robin. There you go.
So what do I recommend for a small DJ setup? Gosh, that's almost – I mean –
How small?
I was going to say I could think of a couple of real simple answers. I mean, obviously a pair of speakers on sticks and even something as small as the DJ 2Go2. Brian has made almost a career out of, very portable DJ systems, somewhat out of necessity, but that's really been a powerful niche for him. So
I don't know if I've had anything to do with market drive on that or not, but I may have. I don't know.
Brian, you've been helpful. You've been very helpful on that with that, especially with the pro event 2 table.
Oh, geez. That table. I saw that table last year at DJ Expo. It was in the American Audio booth of all places. And no one said anything. And I looked at that and I said, oh my gosh, that is cool. And I started riffing on it and thinking about different things you could do with it. And everybody who worked at ADJ American Audio was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one.
You spotted a hit early. I'll tell you, that's been exceptionally popular. We've sold about 9 metric tons of.
I was talking to another retailer the other day, and I'm not cheating on you, Ben.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
I just know people. I just do. And they were saying that every time that somebody comes into the store, they have it on display.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, yeah, well, we can, we're out of them. All we have is the display left. They always want the display. They won't wait for, the next day or whatever to get another one in. So they're constantly rebuilding displays for these things. Whenever they run out, if they don't get their new order in time, they always sell the display. So they've got a lot of experience with setting that thing up because people like them.
Well, the good news is it goes up pretty quick. So
yeah, it does. But boxes and
the shelves. Oh, I'll tell you what, we are living in that. It's on one hand, it's nerve wracking and exhausting. On the other hand, it's super exciting. But some of you know, and I know Chris knows, but we're opening a music store. And so it's this endless parade of tractor trailers of gear, which, I mean, who doesn't love opening gear, right? So today we were setting up Roland pianos and Roland electronic drum kits. And the other day it was, there's guitar amps and pedals. And I mean, it's just this endless parade of musical instruments, which of course, is a lot of fun. But I mean, we're hauling out dumpster loads of cardboard daily. I'm really ready to be done with that part now, I think. And,
you gotta save that and recycle it.
Well, we do. We take it to the recycling center, which is actually about 2 blocks from us. We're in the industrial park, so we have.
Yeah. Do they pay you by the ton?
What's that?
Do they pay you by the ton?
No, they don't pay us anything for it.
Right.
We actually have to pay them. So, but we're doing our good civic deed and recycling it. So,
I got the smallest microsystem ever.
okay. Yeah.
Kazoo, huh?
It's so micro that when you start playing it, everyone leaves.
Look at Robin shake her head as you pulled up the kazoo.
Hey, don't laugh. We gave those away at bridal shows one time.
Yeah, that promoter loved you.
It's
The metal ones too, not the plastic ones.
Oh,
that's the kind of stuff I always imagine that's in the other halls of NAMM that I don't go into.
Hey, Robin, can you share a little bit more about what types of events you're doing or vehicle you're putting it all in, that kind of thing?
Oh, boy, I'm the last person you want to talk to about that, because I have a little caravan, and I have a couple different setups. One that's just really quick. It's a small 4-foot table. And then I do have a 6-foot table. And then my other setup is with a rolling cart, and it's all in one. But just a small caravan. I used to have a van, and I think everybody really should have a van. But I downsized to save on gas and the economy and all that. But that's just about it.
No, Robert, I don't think you'd be the last person at all we should talk to. It sounds like you're the right person to talk to about it, because two things. I mean, one, you have, what's adequate for your customers, and ultimately that's what matters. But two, as I'm always fond of saying, you got to have the right rig for the gig. And when you mentioned you have a couple different options, I mean, that makes me smile. Like, well, thank goodness you're not trying to hammer something, a square peg into a round hole, as they say. You've got options. And so I think that's an excellent answer. Again, there's very few one size fits all. True North was at one of my gigs the other day. And obviously that's a little different, and it wouldn't go over well at a wedding reception. I mean, some people might like it, but it was, two 53-foot semi-trailers, and at the same time, you can't obviously take a small system in there and make it work. So each one has a place, and you should use the right thing for the right show. So my hat's off to you.
I think the Caravan is the smartest vehicle that someone in our business could own.
I have one. All the seats go down in mine.
Yeah, the newer ones, they all fold in, and create a floor. I use them for rentals whenever I gotta go out of town. It doesn't make sense bringing my own vehicle, risk a breakdown. I got a high mileage vehicle. It's a Honda Odyssey, but everything's out of it. All I got is 2 seats in the front. It's cargo.
You know what they call those in the Caravan, James?
What?
It's the Ben Stowe and Go.
Yeah, Ben Stowe and Go.
Ben Stowe and Go.
Nice.
They stopped making those this year too.
Yeah, because I was demanding a penny every time they said it. So
they actually stopped making the Grand Caravan, from what I understand, this year. Last year actually was last year was the actual last year of it.
Well, they're probably still doing Town and Country.
They are. They're doing a thing called
the same vehicle. I mean, I used to work for Dodge.
Chrysler Pacifica. It is. That's what they're using now.
The Honda Odyssey, the top model, is now approaching $50,000.
That's just crazy. You know what? That's just crazy.
I personally, I saw the new Mercedes van, not the Sprinter, but the actual van is sticker underneath $30,000. So
I'll let you get this out of your system. I'll be right back.
I have no problem spending $50,000 on a mixing board, but $50,000 for a van seems a bit excessive.
I'm with you on that one, Ben.
My truck is starting to get pretty old, and my wife's been after me for a couple of years. I think she's afraid I'm going to get stranded somewhere, and worse yet, that I would actually call her for help or something. But I don't know. She's like, "You have got to get a new truck. That thing's it's getting up there in years."
How many miles you got on it?
182,000, I think.
Yeah, I got like 234,000 on my Honda Odyssey, and it starts like a brand new car.
Yeah,
It's
that's
got a little bit of tranny issues right now.
Oh, the truck still runs great, and it's like a comfortable pair of shoes. Just kind of it's broke in. I like it. I'm not a guy who needs to, whatever.
It's like that backpack.
I'm not too full of myself. I don't mind driving a 12-year-old truck. I kind of like it, And
it's not broke in yet.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Broke in or broken?
Broke in.
As far as the minivan practicality goes, I think it goes a couple different directions. Number one, there's a whole bunch of them out there. So if you own one and something happens to it, there's a YouTube video out there showing you how to fix it. So, and the resale value on them is pretty bad. So you can buy a used one, very inexpensive. And if you flip it and it's still running, you can get your money back. But the cubic feet you have in that thing is amazing. As far as what we're doing as wedding DJs. The other thing is,
I drove a Ford Aerostar for years when I was gigging. I think maybe it's a great choice. You get better mileage, and
Now they're also inconspicuous, so they're not going to stick out like a sore thumb unless you've got your branding on the side of it. Yeah. No one's going to know there's maybe DJ equipment in there when you're parked and there's stuff in there. And front-wheel drive, there's something to be said for that, especially for folks who live in northern climates, because that's going to pull you through the snow opposed to pushing you with rear-wheel drive, with most of them. I mean, what is it? The Astrovan is rear-wheel drive. However, there is an all-wheel drive version of that, and GMC Safari as well. But for the most part, Caravans are, that variety, Aerostars, Honda Odyssey, those are front-wheel drive vehicles. So they're very safe. So it's actually the smartest choice. I personally don't own one because I'll walk before I drive a minivan. That's just me. Okay. I'll take the bus before I own a minivan.
Can't agree with you on everything now, Brian. Come on.
Huh?
We can't agree with you on everything,
I won't do it. I will not do it, man. It's just going to take so many cool points off of my chart that I've created for myself that I can't do it. It's just on general principle. So I drive a Suburban. It's less room. It's less practical, but it makes me feel really cool.
Yeah, but you got to lift your gear higher.
We have to talk, Brian. We have to talk.
You can't do it, Ben. Can't do it.
We have to.
Don't hold it against Brian on that. I mean,
it was just the cool points that he thinks he's losing. I
couldn't do it in the 90s because it was the mom mobile.
The soccer mom.
Yeah.
And now I can't do it like now because I'm entering that grandfather age.
I was going to say, how old is your daughter? You don't have any cool points. Let's be honest. We don't have cool points left.
I'm trying really hard.
My oldest daughter turns 21 in April. My son turns 13. There's nothing cool left about me, I mean,
I'm trying though.
Yeah, my daughter's going to be 28.
So you're probably going back to cool now. You're getting smarter, right?
Yeah. But no minivan. I won't do it. Sorry. Can't do it.
All my kids are out of the house. So I'm loving that.
I love a Sprinter. I've driven those commercially.
Oh, yeah. Those things are awesome.
Yeah.
They're fast. People don't realize how much power those things have.
Man, I just saw the other day, it was an opener for a show that I was doing, and they had like a Sprinter that was converted into sort of like a small tour bus. It had bunks in it in the back. It was doggone pretty cool on it, pulling a tandem axle trailer and home away from home. I mean, it definitely ain't a tour bus, but I thought, gosh, this ain't too bad,
Oh yeah, it's got a lot of room. I mean, I drove the cube van version, and I drove the high top delivery version. And I mean, I was up through West Virginia. They got a lot of hills, and I was doing 60 miles an hour, fully loaded with about 13,000 pounds in the back. All right, and I was just going by these tractor trailers that could barely do 40. And I'm like, what the hell? This is awesome.
Now, I think way back, probably in the 90s, they were trying to design equipment that would fit in a Dodge Caravan. I think that was the goal, or maybe the back of a pickup truck. Today, I wonder, what are they designing equipment to fit into? Is it a car now? Is it a
I think so. Maybe with the exception of DJ controllers, as they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's,
Yeah.
right?
you know,
Yeah.
I mean, like that case you just got, Jimmy. I mean, you know, you go out to the warehouse and look at that case, and you think I could be buried in that case. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Doubles as the coffin.
yeah. Remember when they used to call them coffins? You know, but
Yeah. Could it kill you?
Hey, yeah.
But no, I mean, I wonder. I mean, and that was like, boy, I don't know when it was. Probably, oh boy, maybe 6 or 7 years ago. We were at ADJ and we were thinking, you know, what's the smallest vehicle that we could try to fill with a rig? And the smallest vehicle we could get at the time was one of those XBs that was on the lot. So we built a system to fit into the XB. But I always thought that would be a fun challenge. Find the smallest car you can and try to build a system to fit inside of it, like a Mini Cooper.
well, I think that's the trend everywhere. I'm gonna pick on True North again just because he was there, and I'm gonna sort of expose myself here, and hopefully I like the answer. But you know, he was at the Stone Sour Hailstorm concert we did, and you know, when they front of house guy for Stone Sour showed up and saw the rig. You know, his reaction was kind of like, where's the rest of it? You know, because, you know, we have a fairly new rig, and that's the same thing there. Everything's getting smaller and lighter. So I guess, True North, my questions for you were, was it loud and did it sound good?
It sounded excellent.
There you go. You know,
I mean, it was a good show. Definitely a good show.
So
I'll tell you.
even on the touring side, everything is getting smaller and lighter and louder and clearer. And that, folks, is technology, you know?
Yep. It is.
And we're paying more to have smaller, lighter things, but you know, there's a return on the investment, whether you're moving from, you know, a panel van down to a caravan or down to a car, or, you know, your Mini Cooper or your bicycle or whatever it is, Brian. And, you know, I mean, or you're just reducing the number of 53-foot trailers you have. That's drivers and meals and paychecks and diesel. And it's all translatable to a savings in the end.
Yeah. No, it is. And yeah, I couldn't be happier. I mean,
and thank you for the kind words, Chris. I appreciate that. So,
well, going back to what you said earlier about having a setup like that at a wedding, the reaction would be priceless.
well,
I think it'd be a good idea. Maybe you should try it.
I know she's not watching, but this is a long-standing, and this is true. Kat Carlson, who of course has worked at NLFX for 15 years, we've said if she ever gets married, we're going to bring in the line array and do an arena. We'll just have, you know, like I'll have DJs on rotation or something. 'Cause I know there's like 1,000 of you guys that want a DJ for, but we basically said, look, if you ever get married, Kat, we'll bring it in the line array. So, you know,
all about the system.
Wow.
I can tell you that we're not really worried about having to get it out. So, you know.
Well, what are you seeing as for trends as far as, and you don't have to develop too much information here, but as far as what people are gravitating toward with equipment in general? I mean, I think back a few years ago and everybody was going with the scrim look on everything. Mm-hmm. It seems like people are getting away from that a bit. They're going with things like the Pro Event Table, and they're eliminating tripods, period, with things like the Evolve 50.
Yeah, I would say it's more of a minimalist look, and I would call it somewhat industrial chic, you know, where we're seeing more of those things come back, the aluminum truss totems, you know, but here again, just like the sets you play and the show that you do, everything around that is artistic and it's expressive for you and it's individual to you. And it, you know, it's amazing to me that we can have such heated and emotional arguments about it on these forums, because there isn't really a right and a wrong.
No, there's not. You
know, and it's artistic expression, and that's just it. It's, if you're the right choice for your client, then you're doing it right. And not every client is your client, and that's just how it is. The other thing, of course, and just like we're saying, going back to the minimalist theme and that sort of thing, is we're seeing things like the Evolve and other column arrays, you know, which are certainly adequate for some events. And here again, if you want, you know, head smashing bass, that's not it. That's not what you want to do. And so, you know, there's not a one size fits all for everybody, but that's definitely a trend where we're seeing people move to, seeing kind of a shift in the way they're doing lighting, and
right.
And everything is cyclic. You know, you and I've been around a long time, and I imagine some of the folks on this forum have been around, some of them maybe even longer than us. You see these trends sort of evolve, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I try to stay on top of things. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm the last person to get on board. But I was one of the first people to get on board with the scrimmed look. Before that, it was DJ skirts. And
You know what I think's going to catch on? Chocolate fountains.
yeah,
Somebody
Yeah,
did
they
that
work,
on a
right?
forum the other day. There was a guy who was asking, and I felt so bad because he really bit it hook, line, and sinker. And he was asking, what do you think the next big trend is going to be? And somebody said, chocolate fountains. You should ask Ben Stowe about them. Well, first of all, chocolate fountains anyway. And this guy writes me this really nice message, like, hey, I heard you're the guy for chocolate fountains. And I'm like, you misunderstood. Your friend is messing with you. I'm sorry.
I am not always an early adapter on things. And one example of that would be the Airstream DMX bridge. I just discovered this thing I've owned for a year and a half. I just discovered it.
Well, Brian, some people are just still discovering DMX.
I got him.
And that's not a knock against anybody that is, but listen, you got to understand. Some days I wake up and I question the world, because I see these raging debates on DMX cable versus mic cable. And I think to myself, DMX was introduced in 1986, became a standard in 1991. Some of the people that are having this debate weren't even born then. This isn't really a debate, never was. It's never been up for a challenge. Use what you want, do what you want, but understand it's never been up for debate. The scientific community has never polled DJs, to say, what do you guys think? It's just fact. And so I think when you've got something like DMX that's approaching 30 years old and people are still discovering it, actually, it's kind of exciting to me, that people are still embracing embracing old technologies in new ways, I think,
That's the key. I mean, I'm pretty empathetic in the regards that I was there in the 80s when you plugged a light in, it immediately came on and just did things,
And you can only run it for 10 minutes. What was it, 10 minutes on?
Duty cycle. Some lights you had to duty cycle like that.
Cycling on them, yeah.
The LED fixed that problem, but yeah, now all of a sudden we plug a light in or turn it on, and it's got this boot cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after it goes through the boot cycle, it does things that are very acceptable to most people. Flashy, movie, brighty, done. Now all of a sudden we hit that switch and it's this boot cycle. So that's frustrating. And now we have to learn a binary code language. And not only that, but most of the time we have to end up creating the movements.
But you don't. You don't have to understand binary to use DMX. I mean, it's become so easy. You mentioned the Airstream.
It has now. Yeah.
Yeah. What a great, I think it's good. I always teach people, I'm sorry I interrupted you, but I always teach people the physical layer of DMX and some of the fundamentals behind how DMX works, because I think it's important. It's sort of like they say in school to, show your work and do it longhand. That can really get you out of a jam when the computer's not doing what you think it should. You can sort of dissect that a little bit and say, why is this not working correctly? But yeah, now DMX is so very easy. I mean, you don't have to think much at all. You can just click on fixtures and click on colors, and movements are preordained. And
once that's the way it's becoming.
Like
and
sound
that's
switch that, gosh. Hey, remember, Brian, when you used to have to put things in things to make music, things like this? These are some bands you should check out, by the way, Brian. You're going to really like them. Offspring.
From the 90s?
Stone Temple Pilots, Spin Doctors. I'm just saying, this is good.
Nice.
This is good music,
when I was doing the tuck point work down here, I was really frustrated and I was angry. And the only thing that was going through my head were Offspring songs. And I wanted to get this tuck point done so fast because I had to unplug everything down here and have tunes.
That's funny. The only song that came to mind when you said that was picturing you doing that. And I'm thinking of the Offspring song, The Kids Aren't All Right, so.
It's the Offspring Something Sucks. And the guy is just, like every other song. And very angry and very angst. And, you can only be 14 and angry once.
I've just been doing it for a long time.
Yes. No, but this is how I always view DMX. Now, it's fine that it's becoming easier, and I'm happy about that. But I'm a DJ. I play pre-recorded music. That's what I do. DMX is like an instrument that I have to play the song. I don't want to play the song. I just want to listen to a song. I want to plug the light in and let it do something. I don't want to play the instrument and make my own song up. The song that the radio plays is much better than anything I could think of playing on guitar.
I think that's an individual choice, though, and I think
it is.
You know, it's not a one size fits all. That's just a scrim argument, just like a facade argument. You know, some people like flash and trash and spin and puke, and other people want precise and controlled light shows. And I don't think there's a right and a wrong. I think the clients are going to vote with their wallets. So.
No, it's not a right or wrong. It's a matter of perspective. And I think a lot of people think like I do. Not everyone does. I understand that, but I feel like a lot of people are thinking the same way I am about it, and that's why something like the Airstream DMX bridge is like, okay, fine, DMX, whatever, but this makes more sense.
He wants to turn it on and let it work. He don't want to have to work it. He wants it to turn on and go.
Yeah.
He wants to focus on the music.
I'm busy doing something else.
Exactly.
Well, there's sort of there's a new tool in everybody's arsenal now with something like Sound Switch, for example, where you can essentially do that. You can continue to make your set. Maybe you have to do a little legwork in the beginning, but the software also will kind of make its best guesses for you. So there's your answer right there, where you've got sort of a light guy in a box that will do that. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this. I think it was last night on I was talking to a group from Canada, but we have one of our lighting guys. Some of his work you saw, Chris, but we got him a shirt that says, "No, I'm not the DJ, but you can request a color." So.
Oh, jeez.
Let me weigh in on this DMX here. I see two silver linings in what's happening now with the manufacturers and rediscovering your Airstream. What we have now, you started the show with is the smaller systems. Brian, what you have now is you're bringing a tablet, so you're lighter. You're bringing Wi-Fi lights, so it's faster. And so many of these venues that I'm doing now, I haven't done a wedding over 100 people in probably 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of the bigger hotels are saying, hey, you only have an hour to set up and you got to be out of here in an hour. So there's two silver linings.
45 minutes to an hour on my end, tier 2.
Wow.
So, it's almost like we can't afford not to learn it. At least learn, and without having to do binary. I saw you do that video with the Airstream and you did the squiggly thing and you were like, wow, and there you go. I mean, It really is that easy,
Yeah, and it's one of those things where I had it and I'd seen what Joe Lott did and I'm like, okay, he's got me through the technical aspect of this, but no one's helping me out with the creative part. So that's when I really had to stare at the thing. And I had to figure out the creative end of it. Now, once I sorted that out and, how to apply all of the technical techniques that he had presented well, then I got it. And then I thought, okay, I think this is the missing puzzle piece. Maybe if I help and do a video or two on this bit, people will get it. And they did. And now people are buying it again. It's kind of neat.
Well, you're leading by example. There were so many people out there that agreed with you that DMX is, I just don't do that. Give me a plug and play light. And then when you had the aha moment and you made your videos, boom, everybody got on board.
Yeah, the only problem is now I've got people from Chicago and the local area trying to set appointments for me to set it up and program their light shows for them.
That's marketable, Brian.
Yes, it is.
I'm not that kind of guy.
For you.
I'm just going to do it for him because it takes more time, and I love helping people out.
Well, I do too, and I think I give generously time. But at some point, if there's a demand for that, you only have so much time. Time is a finite resource.
I'm Robin Hood. I mean, I've taught him how to do it on the videos, but. Now, for a friend, I'll help him out. So I've got two guys. One guy's got his already. We just need to set up the time. The other guy ordered it yesterday, and we'll probably be doing that next Sunday after church for him. So Yeah.
Mhm.
It's a cool option. It's the coolest option that I've been able to wrap my head around. But once my head's wrapped around it, I understand it. Once it's set up, I understand it. I don't know. So yeah, I was a late adapter on that.
Well, you lit a fire. You really did.
Oh,
And I'm glad. I'm glad you did.
Yeah.
A bit. We'll see what happens.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the videos you put out there like that.
Well, I mean, Ben and I are different animals, obviously. Ben has all of this knowledge on these technical things that no one has. I mean, Ben has forgotten more about how things work than I'll ever know. But I'm like the every idiot. So that's how I try to present my videos. So, okay, I don't understand the things that Ben says. When Ben starts talking, sometimes it's Chinese. I don't get it. But
sometimes you have to speak Chinese just to understand the stuff that's made these days.
Right, because it's different. What are you gonna do? Mandarin, actually, Brian.
The bungee balls. Man,
I think you speak for a lot of people in the industry, though, Brian. I think you're very relatable, and I mean, I try to be, but as much as I try to, inject humor and relatability and that sort of thing into my presentation, for you, it's very natural, and I think it kind of reminds me of that picture somebody took of the two of us out at the NAMM show, and somebody said, look at these two guys. Think about collectively what the two of us have done for this industry, and I'm not saying that to toot our horns, but I think you have made thousands of videos and you have helped tens of thousands of people, and there's times I've reached out to you, for assistance. And sometimes it's a matter of getting the rubber to the road where I'm like, man, this person needs help and I need somebody like you who can just talk to them, So I wouldn't say you're every idiot. I would say you're every man, maybe,
Person, DJ. Robin.
Obviously, I have a tremendous amount of love and admiration for you and for what you've done for the industry.
Well, Ben, you're always there. When there are 5 DJs in a cornfield in the middle of Missouri, Ben Stowe is there to help, and that's cool. That is so cool. That's dedication. So I thank you for that, because I've been watching you do that since I've been involved in this. But yeah,
a long time. This didn't used to be gray when we started doing this, but
yeah.
So while we're busy talking about how much help we've given to people, how about we actually do it? Who else has got a gear question here?
True North has his hand up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I was just going to go back here a little bit too to the DMX. How we're saying that it's people are just starting to understand it or starting to get into it. Personally, for me, I started probably 2 years ago, and it was a pain trying to figure out how these sliders work on these little DMX controllers. Now I've switched over to my DMX3, which is all software. Mm-hmm. You open up that manual, figure out which channel, how many channels you're going to be using, and all that stuff. Once you program that in there, you make your shows, you tear down, you set up, everything's already set again.
Yeah,
which makes it very, very easy. Also going back a little bit too was, we started talking into the small setups and going back into the trussing. Well, I've also added global trussing to mine, goal post truss. Oh. And what I do is, those can break down so small. I have all my lights LED, so they're a lot smaller, permanently mounted, and I break down the truss, and it literally takes me about 15 minutes and my whole light show is set up.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's very easy, and it fits in the back of a truck.
I call mine the little big show because I can set up in a half an hour.
Yep, me too.
Because it's my DMX 3.0. I just hang them. I already know what they're going to do right on the computer.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it all fits in one case.
You're doing things that make total sense, and things that are duplicated, in other parts of the industry tour and whatnot, where, leaving fixtures attached where it's safe to do so, pre-booming cables, custom patch panels. I know a guy that can make those for you, by the way, but, doing those kinds of things to eliminate, connectivity and eliminate everything you tear down has to be set back up, right? So the less you take apart, the less you have to put back together the next time.
Mm-hmm.
So I had this idea a while back, and I'm going to go ahead and share it with the class.
Okay, and then Reggie had his hand up too. So,
and here, Reggie, you're next. My idea is this. Okay, we start a new show. We do like 4 a year. It's called Ben Stowe Fixes Your Stuff. And what happens is you're a DJ. You are, I don't know, you're Scott Carroll, all right? And you're like, hey, everybody, this is my DJ setup, and this is how I have it all hooked up, and this is the equipment that I own, and this is what it does. And then Ben shows up and just knocks on the door on a Saturday morning, or Sunday morning after a gig. Hey, we're going to fix your stuff today. Let me see that set up again. And then Scott's going to set it up, and Ben's going to
let me ask you, Brian.
Crap. Nope, that's the wrong cable. Nope, we're going to swap that out for this. And he's going to fix it for you.
Okay, you just answered my question. My question was, since this has kind of got a reality show theme, am I like Mike Rowe or Gordon Ramsay?
Mike Rowe.
Let's go more toward that.
Yeah, I'm much more of a Mike Rowe guy. I think I'm pretty easygoing and just a lover of humanity, whatever. But I think the Gordon Ramsay thing might be kind of fun because I don't think people would expect that from me.
I think it would be hilarious. I'll direct it.
What's this crap?
I'll be the showrunner of this thing, and I think actually, obviously I want to call it Ben's Fixes Your Shit, but I want to be kind about it. Fixes Your Stuff, I edited it a little bit, but Ben Fixes Your Shit just sounds funny, and
Ben fixes your paraphernalia.
Ben fixes your pit.
Oh my gosh!
Flip my gear.
But what I was actually gonna say,
that's some nice equipment you got there.
What I was actually gonna say is that it's funny that True North mentioned that the sliders were confusing, and he finally found something that works well for him. I had the same problem with mixing techniques 15 years ago when I was really diving into, because you hit these plateaus with everything you do where it's like, okay, I can't improve beyond where I'm at right now. I can't seem to get over this, plateau to get to the next level. And then all this DJ software stuff came out. So it would be a situation where it was like, okay, I'm struggling. So I've been mixing on turntables for, the last 2 weeks. I'm going to switch over to CDs and try to mix with that and see if I can't overcome the plateau because of a different format. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to switch over to software and try that. And usually, using the 3 different formats, I was able to overcome whatever obstacle, or get my head around whatever the technical obstacle was that I was trying to achieve. So it's cool to have those different tools and to try different things. One thing may not work for you, but there's something else out there that might. And it's cool that we're seeing that something else out there right now, be it My DMX or being at the Airstream Bridge or whatever software you're using, aside from just a 512 controller.
Yeah, and I think the one that I had, it was up to like 256 channels.
Mm-hmm.
And, my PARs, I ran on the lowest one, 3-channel, red, green, and blue. That's all I had.
Right.
I tried to figure out, okay, so which one would it be to do a strobe effect or a fade in, fade out, So I programmed so little. Now, with the option of adding all these channels, having the sliders on the screen actually show you what it's going to be, whether it's the fader or the color or a macro or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I can program a light show and do tons of different things through different songs. Like you get into a song that you want a bunch of strobe or a blinder effect or whatever, you got the control right there at the touch.
Yeah.
Which is way easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
They're almost all instruments,
Mm-hmm.
Reggie, what'd you have for us?
Okay. First things first, I know zero about DMX. Everything I have is analog lighting. I have that Weatherman system. Do I need a Weatherman DMX controller to run it, or can I use anything else?
Anything works.
The beautiful thing about DMX, we talked about going all the way back to 1986 when a bunch of theater nerds got together and said, we got to do something better than this analog stuff. It's a standard protocol. And in fact,
to tell you honestly, I would drive up to Bemidji or down to Milwaukee with a 6-pack of beer and the lighting system to have somebody teach me.
I'll meet you in Bemidji then.
I was going to say, you can go halfway and go to the lighting symposium in Minneapolis and learn about that and a ton more stuff. We're going to talk about all kinds of fun stuff. That's April 9th and 10th. So that would be, I think, a worthwhile endeavor. But DMX is a standard, and the same controller that that was used at the concert that True North went to, or his controller, or Brian's controller, or any controller I have, all of those will work with that weather system.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You know,
that was my question.
The only there. Well, no, I'm not. I'm never going to go there. See, they're
go there.
Well, I was going to mention that. In DMX, pin 3 should be data true or plus, and then pin 2 is data complement or minus.
I take back what I said.
I knew you were going to say that.
I thought you were going to go a different route. The only thing that is proprietary on this stuff is when you go wireless.
Oh, well, yeah, because, of course, you're no longer that's no longer a standard at that point. The
right.
DMX signal is now propagated over a proprietary method of transmission. I was just going to mention some people invert the polarity, and this is still unfortunately happening. Just had a customer that bought some no-name stuff and has yet to actually been able to get it to work. And I kind of reluctantly offered a few suggestions, but I kind of said, DMX is a standard. It should work.
Right.
I don't think their problem is a DMX problem, I guess is kind of what I'm saying.
Right.
Right.
No, but I mean, like for wireless stuff, and just what I tell anybody who asks when they're talking about, going wireless, it's like, well, it's cool. I'm trying to do as much as I can when the product's out there and it works for me. But one thing is that if you're going to go wireless, you need to pick a brand and stick with the brand, because that is proprietary. If you try to bounce around to Bob's lighting, to Dave's lighting, to Ben's lighting, then things aren't going to be as easy, because you're going to have too many protocols out there and they don't all talk to each other. So pick a duck and stick with it.
Do you guys find, and I guess, Ben, from going to your show a couple of weekends ago, I'm a lighting guy. I love lights. When I started DJing 17 years ago, I was a light guy for 3 years, so I ran all the lights.
Nice.
I think the lighting show plays a big factor in the whole performance itself, personally, because I've gone to other DJs that have performed for weddings that I go to or whatever, and they just have lights that just do random stuff the whole entire night. I feel that you get a much better reaction when you actually are in control and you can do certain things during certain songs.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Like they were doing up there at that concert, it was like, I mean, you guys did a good, it was a good job on that show when, they needed strobes or whiteouts or, it was spot on.
When I was doing this back in the 90s, I was able to achieve that with something as simple as the Light Copilot 2 that ADJ had, which was basically just an on-off toggle switch. And I just had lights that did certain things, and they had flash buttons on there. So during the breaks in the songs, I could flash certain lights and do that kind of thing. And then when DMX came along and I said, no, this is just, my brain's going to explode, my light shows got less interesting. But now with the, introduction of things like Sound Switch or even record box lighting with that DMX 1RM, I think the lighting game for everybody is going to go up significantly.
Yeah, I don't think lighting has ever been simpler to operate with regard to achieving those effects. And I wholeheartedly agree with True North that creating purposeful imagery that matches the music. And you said it really well, Brian, when you said basically that's your instrument, that's what you play. And if you're going to be committed to lighting, absolutely. I mean, if you watch these LDs at concerts, that's what they're doing. They're very much involved. You'd think they were back there at a drum set or something.
Oh, yeah.
They're very much into it because that is the visual information that corresponds to the oral information. And really to your point, Chris, if it didn't matter, they wouldn't do it, and I guess there's sometimes maybe you just go to watch an acoustic act and, maybe there's just a little accent lighting, but generally speaking, when you go to a concert, you expect to see something visual that is representative of what you're hearing.
At the NAMM show, I saw the big light shows that the major lighting manufacturers were using in their booths. They had hired light jacks to come in and build. I mean, guys who just do this all day long, and synchronized to the music, the whole bit. Some pretty impressive stuff. And then I went into this little demo room from Pioneer. Ben, I know you were in there. You went up there and saw it.
No, I didn't actually.
Oh, you did not? Oh my gosh. Went up there. And here's Pastor Jay, right? Jay Brannon, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, hey, I don't know a lot about lighting, but Christian and I have been monkeying around with this for like a week. And he was totally telling the truth because I know exactly what those guys did. Christian flew down a little bit before Nam and him and Jay kind of crunched this together. We put together this little light show with this record box lighting. Wow. And these guys are not lighting guys. Wow. It's amazing. And I was up there with someone, I won't say who, but someone from a lighting company, and they were like, this isn't any better than what our guys could do. This is incredible. I mean, this isn't, it's just as good as what our guys can do. And they're working on it all day. The technology that's out there right now is just, wow. It's incredible. So
yeah, like I said, I don't think it's ever been easier. And, things like the software that is available, MyDMX, Show Express, Airstream Bridge, Sound Switch. This is the tools we have at our fingertips. And I feel like I'm bordering on the edge of, the sync button argument. But the fact is, when the tools are put in front of you, man, use them,
Absolutely.
I tell you what, I don't feel at all like I'm cheating when I use a Digico console with channel multis and, multi-band compression and dynamic EQ. I don't feel like I'm cheating at all because I have tools now that didn't exist 10 or 15 years ago. I feel like I am using better tools,
Right.
Now, you can say what you want. Say, well, if you're a real sound guy, you'd mix with an analog disc. Well, that might be. Call me what you want. I'm getting paid. So,
Right. Right. No, that's you're going to have that. Obviously, we have that in our business with mixing and the tools. And I'm sure it's happening in the music business as well. I remember it happening with drum machines. Way back.
Everywhere you go, even on stage, Pro Tools stems, whatever. Anyway, that's a philosophical argument, I guess. But again, at the end of the day, you've got these lighting tools available to you, and you have the ability to really enhance the experience your clients are having. And I think you should. That's what I think. But I also think that your show is unique and individual to you, and whatever you do is right for you.
The interesting bit, though, and I've had this kind of conversation with folks lately, is that maybe half of us don't embrace this, but the other half do. And it becomes, something that people like. They like this part of it, but the other half isn't offering it. Then we got a problem. It's almost like you have to adapt to it, or you're going to lose. Yep. It's going to become that. Well,
like I said, clients will vote with their wallets,
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, that's there is no right or wrong, but when the client is voting with their wallet, sometimes you have to understand why they didn't give you the vote.
I was having a conversation with the DJ over in the UK, and they were talking about how all the people in my area, the pricing's low, it's driven the market down. I can't get anybody to pay more than 200 quid for an event. I'm like, well, all things being the same, price is going to win. But if you're bringing something special or something more, then you've added value. Mm-hmm. I understand that you have Toastmasters come in and actually do the announcements. It's a separate guy. He's got this red jacket on. It's very, the pageantry is there. It's very British. But the DJ doesn't typically do this. What if the DJ were to start doing this? Oh, no, I can't do that. But I'm really good at mixing. It's like, well, yeah, but so is the other guy. You see, you've got to add that value somewhere. You can't just give up and say, no, this is all I'm going to do and expect to move forward. I believe the same thing may happen with lighting in the long run here, where I think the last, let's say 10 to 15 years, we've all been kind of trying to work it out. Some have adapted, some haven't. But now I don't know. With these new implications of, like I say, sound switch and record box lighting, here's another thing we got to figure out. We got to do. If we don't do it, we're just going to fall behind.
Well, I'll tell you, it's made a world of difference, especially at my age. Because it's so portable, I'm able to put on what people consider a spectacular show, and I'm getting hired by other DJs to do lighting. I mean, now, just like you said earlier, Brian, you've got people that want you to set up their lighting for them. You can't get a higher compliment than that when another DJ wants you to, hey, help me with the lights.
Well, they just don't want to watch my videos and figure it out, and that's fine. They're friends.
Well,
exactly.
that actually happened. I'll tell you what, that happened at 2 or 3 or 4 lighting symposiums ago. People came and they spent good money to learn things. And Brian, I think you've been at every single one of them. So, there were people who came, and some people came thinking they wanted to learn and decided they didn't, and other people came, embracing the ability to learn and whatever. And I absolutely witnessed this in the hotel at breakfast, where one DJ was saying to another DJ, "I'm just going to hire you to do the lighting," because
Right.
And I thought, well, this was still a win. They came.
I'm sold on the concept. I just don't want to do it.
Yeah, they're like, "Gosh, yeah, no, you know what? I think I'm just going to do what I do, and you're going to do what you do," and that's all right too.
It's like watching a YouTube video on how to swap the fuel pump out on your car. I mean, some of us are going to dive in and do it. Some of us are going to go, you know what? I'm just going to have my mechanic do that.
Yeah, I'm going to take it to the mechanic, and I'm a pretty resourceful guy. But you're absolutely right. I'm going to say, nope, not going to do that.
And that's where I am.
And some things I won't do again. I remodeled,
right,
put in a basement, a bathroom in my basement, and cut concrete, and had to cut through cast iron pipe with diamond bladed saws, and sitting in a hole and in the dirt, and concrete dust all over the house, and about 3-4 weeks, and I thought, yeah, that was fun. It was nice to check that off the list. Next time, I don't care what the plumber charges. I'm just going to write the check.
Yeah, obviously my roofing days are over, but they were over well before I couldn't roof anymore, because I had done a couple of them and tear-offs, and no, that's just not what I do. Can I do it? Yes. Do I want to do it? No. So I get it, and that's, I guess, my superpower is empathy. I get that people feel that way. So, yeah.
At the same time, you mentioned the UK. I was speaking in the UK a few years back, and I had a woman come up to me after one of my seminars, and she had the most awesome, Irish brogue accent. But she came up, and basically after sitting through a seminar on the technology things that like you and I talk about, she said, I don't want to learn how to cook the steak. I just want the steak.
I want to eat it.
Yeah. And I told her, I said, well, with all due respect, ma'am, that makes you the client, not the provider. I said, that's exactly how your client feels. And if you're going to open a restaurant, you better learn how to cook steak.
Yeah. That's true. It's very true.
She didn't like it, but
Or she's British.
Be like that.
I don't like anything.
Hey, remember what was it? A couple of weeks ago, they had that famous 4-star restaurant somewhere in Louisiana that was, had these outrageous wings. And people were going in and they were paying $50 for this plate of wings, and they were going out the back door and going to Popeyes. And
that was in California.
You remember that?
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah.
They're Popeyes wings, yeah. Or Popeyes chicken.
Oh,
but they were reselling it for $50.
Popeyes
whatever
chicken
it was.
Is awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Goodness gracious. Are we? I think we're out of time.
I think John's here to kick us out.
All right.
Where he was a second ago.
At that time. You want to do a sign off then, Ben?
Thanks. Bye.
It only took us 45 minutes to get wound up and get on topic, but I hope that everyone enjoyed it.
Bye.
Bye now. Bye.
Bye. Which part didn't you understand? Buh or bye?
It's like the boom mic drop. I just kind of go.
Oh, don't drop that one.
Well, thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah, I've greatly enjoyed it. True North, we do got to get you back over to Bemidji, and I'm actually planning to come your way, I think, at some point too. But it would be fun to have you. And obviously, a lot of crazy changes in our neck of the woods. But come on over anytime. So.
Yeah, definitely. I'll get in touch with you.
And Ben, we will see you at Mobile Beat.
I'll see you at Mobile Beat.
Hey,
God willing.
hey, Ben,
Yes, sir.
can you show me how to fix this?
Looks like it's
Chinese
working.
light.
Looks like it's working to me.
Hey, congratulations, Ben, on your EV
Yeah.
award. That
Oh,
was
thank
really
you.
cool.
You know what, though? Thank you. I appreciate that. And that is a testament to people like you who have supported us and have advocated for us and have stood by us and have made us your gear supplier and have also referred us to your friends. And I think it's a testament to the staff who has worked incredibly hard. Every speaker matters. Every customer matters. I mean, it's easy, I think, sometimes in business to get lost in the numbers, but we recognize that every loudspeaker matters because every loudspeaker is maybe one of a pair that you're going to use every weekend going out to make your living. And, as long as you keep things in that granular level and you really focus on the details, those kinds of things will happen. And I guess in summary, what I told our staff, we've been really blessed. We've actually won quite a few Dealer of the Year awards, including American DJ and Chevet and a bunch of others. And, I guess it comes down to this. I tell the staff that winning awards doesn't make you great. Being great wins you awards, and you have to just focus on that day to day. Everybody matters. Every sale matters. Every product matters. Focus on the minutia and the grind and not the glamour. Mm-hmm. And so I guess that's a really long-winded thank you for saying that, but
You guys are all about action. As soon as you show interest in something, you PM real quick, private message, and next thing you know, it's in your inbox, and you just order it from there. It's really fast. You do a great job.
I was going to start playing that Academy Award music they play when they're trying to kick people off stage and go to commercial, but I didn't have anything queued up. So.
Oh, my goodness.
Thanks, Robin. We appreciate that a bunch because y'all matter. And I hope that always our actions match. I could say whatever I want, right? But talk is cheap. So I'm glad that our actions match that. And I hope they always do. And if they don't, I hope you'll let me know. I hope you'll, help hold us accountable and remind us that the reason we get up every day and come to work is for you.
Thanks. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Actually, your business model reminds me of when I was a teenager and you could go to the mom and pop auto store and the people behind the counter knew more about your car than you did. And they said, no, you're getting the wrong part here. I mean, you go now to a auto store and it's a minimum wage person doesn't know anything about cars.
Customer service, my friend. Customer service.
I mean,
that goes a long way.
I miss that. But you guys are totally different.
Well, we hope our competitors don't watch this video, and we hope they don't figure it out. But I appreciate. I mean, Howie, you couldn't have said a better. You couldn't have said a nicer thing to me than what you just said right there. I love that. I absolutely love the fact that when a customer calls, I probably recognize their voice. Mm-hmm. I know you. And obviously I'm somewhat disconnected. Obviously our sales team's even more a little plugged in. But we love that we have these great friendships and relationships. Mm-hmm. And last year at Mobile Beat, we had a couple of marketing interns from the university, and we have a couple this year too. And they were sort of observing this process of walking through the halls and exchanging, heartfelt and meaningful hugs and handshakes and conversations with so many friends. Mm. And they asked when we finally kind of got through the crowd, they said, they don't teach us that in marketing. I said, it's not marketing. I said, that's just being a good human being, Yeah. I said, right. I really do love these people, So
reminds me of an experience I had at McDonald's in Solihull, England one time.
Oh, don't do the McDonald's story again.
I was trying to get a reaction from Howie. Yeah. I'm going to build a seminar around my experience at McDonald's in Solihull, England. I'm going to build a complete
book,
seminar around it for one of these shows.
I'll come. I'll attend it.
You don't need to attend it. You're doing just fine. But some people probably need to hear it.
Well, I think we also need to.
It's a great story.
We need to continue to be humble, and I'll tell you what. We won our first Dealer of the Year award in 2002, and I hope that we are just as humble today as we were then.
Well, you're definitely a unicorn out there. I mean, the guys like you just don't exist. Yeah. So you are the unicorn of this industry. So thank you for that. And thank you for helping us. Even if sometimes we don't understand what the hell you're talking about. Thank you for your help.
Sometimes I just make things up.
I think you do.
But see, now Paul, I see Paul's lurking in here. Paul's a pretty tech savvy guy too. I enjoy some of his posts and things. I think he could call me on some of that. So you're like, you made that up. That doesn't even exist.
What are you talking about?
I went to the store. They don't have flux capacitors.
Do you guys remember one of the airport movies, not Airplane, but one of the airport movies that they had some young kid on the thing, and he's like, "Oh, we're going in a circle," and the guy goes, "Oh no!" He just totally double talked the kid, and it was Dean Martin.
No, I have to look it up.
Thanks for the obscure reference, Jimmy. Awesome. Appreciate it.
Hey, Brian.
Yes.
Do you remember the movie 5 Easy Pieces?
No, but you were referencing it with Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. When I mentioned that in the one comment to you the other day with your McDonald's story,
yeah,
he's in the diner and he just wants toast, and she said, "We don't have toast." Well, what can I get? It's just, well, all right. He says, "I'll tell you what. Just give me a ham sandwich. I want the bread toasted." And she says, "Well, what am I going to do with the ham?" He says, "You can stick it between your legs,
right?
Blah, blah, blah." And that's what I think of when you tell that McDonald's story. Like, you're just trying to get what you want. Like,
okay,
you're Jack Nicholson.
It's been brought up, so I almost have to tell it. You've bullied me into telling the McDonald's story.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it. Some of us hadn't heard it.
So I'm in England. I'm in Birmingham at the BPM show, and I'm there with ADJ. And over at that show, it's all hands on deck when it comes time to tear things down. And it was a military operation shuttling us from the expo center to the hotel. So we all had assigned drivers and so many people per car and all this stuff. So it's Sunday, we're tearing down, we're very tired, it's getting late, we're all really hungry, we didn't eat. And the person who's kind of in charge of us, shuttling us back and forth, is, "Oh, don't worry, we're going to go to dinner afterwards, it's going to be great." So on and on, finally we leave, we get to Solihull, which is where our hotel was, and the only place open to eat was McDonald's. So, we're eating at McDonald's, everybody. So, what a treat. So, we go into McDonald's. And I hate McDonald's, by the way. I mean, I can't digest it. After I turned 22 years old, I can no longer digest this food. But in a pinch, I can do like a grilled chicken sandwich, maybe with a little bit of mustard on it or something, because I don't do lettuce or tomato or any of that. So, I go up to the counter. It's very late. I'm very tired. And I said, "You know what? I just want a grilled chicken sandwich with a little bit of mustard on it." "Sorry." "Oh, well, don't be sorry. That's okay. It's just make my sandwich for me, please." "I can't do that." "What do you mean you can't do that?" So I just need you to put a chicken breast between 2 pieces of bread and put some mustard on it." "Sorry." "Get your manager right now." So the manager comes up. "Whoa, what's wrong?" I'm like, "I need a grilled chicken sandwich." So grilled chicken between 2 pieces of bread with some mustard on it. And he says, I said, "Hold on a second. You got a chicken club sandwich, right?" "Yeah." "Why don't you give me one of those, take the lettuce and tomato off of it, and then put some mustard on it? If you have an issue with putting the mustard on it, give me the mustard packet. I'll do it myself, but that's what I want." Oh, okay. Now, I got my sandwich. The brilliant part about this was the crew from the UK is looking at me like I'm Tony Soprano because I had the audacity to ask for some service at a McDonald's. Now, I think this is a UK thing. The customer service is a novelty there. If it exists at all, it's a unicorn. You don't see it very often, which is odd because they have all this pageantry and stuff. But when it comes to everyday services, they just don't do it. So I've kind of taken this, and I'm thinking about the UK DJs, the struggles they're having with the price wars, and they're basically paying to work at this point. And I'm talking to these guys, and I'm like, hey, look, and that's when I brought up the guy in the red coat, going up and doing the announcements. How come the DJ can't do this? Oh, well, no, I can't do that. But I'm a great DJ. It's like, well, yeah, but so is everybody else in your town who's charging 50 quid to do an event. So you're going to have to bring some more value than just being a great DJ if you want to up your prices. You've got to offer them something. And, the argument is, oh, well, this is England. That's not what we do. We don't do that. In America, where I live, I do this thing during dinner because what happens is the way we structure things in Wisconsin is we do a grand entrance, we eat dinner, we do toast, then we have a dance. So I'm playing dinner music. I don't really have a lot to do. So when I can, I'll walk around the room and I'll go up to a random table and I'll say, hey, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Brian. I'm the DJ. Can I play anything? And they said, no one's ever asked us that before. Wow, that's really cool. You start a conversation with them, and they eventually give you a song they'd like to hear. And then later on in the night when you play it, you point at them, and they give you the thumbs up, and you've made a connection. You've offered something kind of cool that no one's ever done before. I did that in the UK once. I was doing a gig at a place called Hogshead, a little pub there that I was playing during the BPM show. And it was early, and there were people sitting at the tables not really engaged in anything. And, well, I'm going to go talk to these people. So I did. I walked up to the first table, a couple of girls sitting there, and I said, hey, I'm Brian the DJ. Can I play anything? What? Like, yeah, what can I play you? No one's ever asked us that before. Oh, my gosh, that's so cool. Yeah, what would you like? And they rattled off a couple songs, and I played them. So, they've never experienced customer service before over there. Maybe if somebody offered it, it might be something that people would pay for or enjoy. So I don't accept that it's something that won't work over there. I just think it's a matter of approach.
I got a question. Is it something about the class system that they have in the UK?
They are who they are, man. I don't know. Probably people kind of stay in their lane over there.
Yeah.
Like, this is who you are. This is who you should be. Don't go over here because you don't belong over here. So that might have something to do with it. And there is also a degree of, I guess, modesty and humility over there too. And when they think of customer service in England, I think that they interpret that as the overly dramatic and eager to please Denny's waitress. That's what they interpret it as. Like, no, it doesn't sound sincere. It sounds like bullshit, so we don't want to do that. No, not at all. That's in the delivery, and that's up to you to figure out how to deliver it. Has nothing to do with the Denny's waitress. And I say that because when we go to BPM, or not BPM, but Mobile Beat, and whenever we have anybody British with us, we go to Peppermill. They love Peppermill, the giant food. And they always comment on, oh, that waitress is so fake. I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. You're going to get your food hot, on time, and she's going to bring you anything you want anytime you ask for it. Don't worry about her dramatic acting role. Worry about the service you're getting here. But I really think that's what they're thinking about. The Peppermill waitress at Mobile Beat. Oh, she sounds like she's just trying to put one off on us or trying to scam us. No, she's
not. So who all here's going to Mobile Beat?
Huh?
All right.
I'll be there.
Yeah. Okay. The banana splits at the Peppermill, that's about like a 5-quart pail worth of ice cream. Come on up and join me. We're going to kill another one of those. I did one by myself one year, but
no, you didn't. Really?
I really did. I really
got
did.
the shakes.
It's a story I'll tell you in person. It's well, wasn't one of my prouder moments, but yes, I really did. And of course, our staff is taking full advantage of this and taking pictures of me making a giant pig out of myself. But you know what? I have no regrets. I really enjoyed that. So speaking of customer service, I apologize, but I have got to call it a night.
Go.
Yeah, sounds good.
I've got a pretty full day tomorrow, but I've really enjoyed spending the time with you tonight, and I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with us here on the Ben and Brian Show. So,
thank you so much, Ben.
Ben.
You bet.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Really enjoyed it.